want to talk about today? Hey guys, how's everyone doing? So I decided to come outside today to enjoy the very calm and peaceful nature. It rained yesterday and today, so outside has just been very, very calm. But ever since I posted about our move, I have gotten a lot of interest from people. People have reached out to me to tell me that this is something they've always wanted to do. I've had people who said, "Wow, I never knew this was possible in Canada." Trust me, different types of people. So I wanted to kind of do this video. So this video is more of I'll say a rant or an advice, sort of, but it's not investment advice. It's not financial advice, please. It's just to kind of talk more about it. I'm sure there are people out there who have talked about this whole thing about owning lands or moving outside of the city. I'm sure I'm not the first person, but I'm just saying it to you guys since we're all in this together. Those of you following, or those of you watching, you must have interest in it, and maybe just want to hear others' points of view. You see, ever since we moved here, we've been talking to our neighbors. We'll keep hearing about oh yeah, this family owns this land, or this family was the one who sold it off to this person, or oh, across the land from us, this family owns 100 acres, and it's really nice to hear, right? It's nice to hear when families have this type of legacy that they can pass on to their kids, to their grandkids. And for so many of us, we're immigrants, right? If not immigrants, you're maybe second generation Canadian. So your parents moved here and then they gave birth to you here. We don't have this type of opportunity where we have parents or grandparents passing on land to us. At least not in Canada. In Nigeria, maybe we'll have our parents and our grandparents that have large hectares of land that they will pass on to you. They have maybe in the village, they have in certain areas. But here in Canada, we don't have that, especially as immigrants. When you move here, you're first of all thinking of surviving. You're trying to make sure you have a good job. You're trying to make sure you can put a roof over your head and your family's head. You're just trying to do the regular things. You're trying to start from scratch, to build. So coming here, we're not really privileged to have someone pass on 100 acres of land to us. But you can start it. You can start that kind of legacy for yourself, for your children, for your grandchildren, for your great-grandchildren. You see, my parents, they have lands in Nigeria. They have homes in Nigeria. They built homes, they bought lands, they did a lot of these types of investment. And if we were still back in Nigeria, this would have benefited us. And it actually still benefited us. My dad was able to raise myself and my siblings in North America, just him, right? Me and my siblings, we were 6. And then he also raised other extended family members too. But you're able to do this when you have an investment type of mindset, when you're not really thinking about just yourself. You're also thinking about your offspring and their offspring. I was talking to an aunt of mine who's been here in Canada for I think around 25 years now, and she said a while back, maybe not too long ago, someone, I think one of her sisters, bought a 50-acre land around the Ottawa area, Manotick area, and it was really cheap. It wasn't expensive, right? Compared to today, if you wanted to try to buy land in Manotick, it would be too much for you. It's even more than the price of a house. But she was able to do that a couple of years ago for not too expensive. Where am I going with this? Stay with me. If our parents had for some people, like you're second generation Canadian, so your parents live in Canada. But for me, my parents are in Nigeria. But imagine if my parents moved to Canada in the 1980s. They moved to Canada. Let's just say, okay, they used the first 10 years to struggle, to get their feet wet, to get to know where they are, just like get to, like maybe survive, right? So they use the first 10 years. So the 90s go by. And then the early 2000s, they kind of settled. Imagine if my parents bought land in Ottawa in 2001. So 50 acres. Let's just say 50 acres. So let's just say 20 acres. Maybe like 50 acres as of that time for the price would be too much, right? Same thing with today. The price of a 50 acre land in Ottawa or around the Ottawa outskirts might be pricey. Not too much, but you get the gist. So let's just say what they could afford then was a 20 acre land in 2001, and they bought it for us, or they just bought it for themselves. They're like, oh, this particular land is selling for 20K. Oh my gosh, we have 5K. Let's put 5K down and let's just like try to pay the remaining 15K small. And then eventually we can use it to build, or we can gift it to our kids. Imagine if it's 2025, so 24 years later, 25 years later, I'm like, oh, I want to build something. I've grown up. I have my own career, but then I want to buy a house in Ottawa, and then everything's expensive. And then I'm like, oh, my parents actually have land on the outskirts in Kanata area. Let me just take a small plot and just build for myself. Just imagine having that type of opportunity if my parents did this back then. So where I am going is that we are able to recreate this for our kids. Another reason why I'm bringing it up is a lot of people who have reached out to me have said, yeah, it's not easy to just buy the land and then build on it because it's expensive. And that's very true. $700,000, $800,000, that's a lot of money, even if you're going to be using the mortgage. It's not just the mortgage. You also have to come up with a down payment, right? For some people, they might ask you for 20% down, and that's not small money to come up with. So it's a lot of money for some families to say, I'll buy land and I'll build on it immediately. For some people, it's not feasible right now because of like work, right? If you work right in the city of Ottawa, and right now that most companies are going back to hybrid or even almost every day working in the office, it's not feasible to be driving every day for 45 minutes to an hour. And some days when there's traffic, trust me, it's going to be like an hour, 30 minutes. So that's not a feasible thing to do every day. So for some families, they're not in that spot right now to say, we're able to do this move. There's too many factors to consider, too many things to consider where you're like, yeah, I can't do it. I want to do it. This is my ideal type of life. But right now, I have to make some things possible first before I do the move. So for those type of people, it's just not possible to go ahead and just like move. Right? For some people, it's okay because maybe you have your own business or you work remote like I do. Or you don't work every day in the office. Maybe you just go into the office once or twice in a week. So it's not bad. But for so many people, there's too many factors that they have to consider. And so if you really want to still do this, you can go ahead and just buy land. Again, this is not financial advice or investment advice. The reason why I'm bringing it up and why I brought up my auntie's sister is the price of land then is not the price of land today. Buying land 10 years ago was probably way cheaper than it is going to be today. So something to consider, especially for those who are like, I'm not ready. Or for people who are like, this is not my kind of lifestyle, but I still want to have a legacy for my children. So it is something you can definitely do. You buy the land, right? Again, you have to do your due diligence. I will show some examples of some lands that, because there's different things to consider. You have to work with a realtor who is very, very knowledgeable on anything land. For me, I'm very knowledgeable on a lot of things. I like to read there's too many things I like to put my hands into. So maybe I should become a realtor so that you guys can use me and you can work with me. If you're like, oh, I have questions about certain things, or like, oh, I'm scared, I don't know if I'm making the right decision, or how do I know what to ask? Come to me. I'll tell you what to ask. So maybe I'll become a realtor, and then so I can get paid from this, because I'm not getting paid for all of this information I'm giving out. But anyways, I'm doing it for the love. So you can start with buying the land, right? It could be for yourself, it could be for your future children, it could be for your future grandchildren, but they will thank you for it. They will thank you so much. Oh, they will thank you so much for it. So if for some people you're like, oh yeah, this is not a feasible thing to do, I don't have the money to build on it, or my lifestyle right now is not going to work, you can buy land. I'm not really sure about land in the GTA area, so the Greater Toronto area. I ran away from Toronto a long time ago, and I'm not going back because things are too expensive there. So I'm not really sure about land prices around the area. But for the Ottawa Valley area, which I'm more familiar with, because I've done some type of research, I'll tell you about it. So land is not, it's not expensive, but it's not cheap either. So it's not like you find 10 acres for 50K. If you find 10 acres for 50K, then there's a catch, which I'll come to. But the thing is, if you wanted to buy land, so this one I'm putting up here, you can see the price. It's around 169K. It's for 2+ acres of land. And if you read the description, you see that it's not, it's usable land. Like you can use it to build. Some land posts, some people that are selling land, they're not going to put as much description, right? So you need to make sure you're doing your due diligence. But for this one I'm putting up right now, you can build on it. It's a residential area. It's most likely a rural residential area, meaning you're able to live as if you're in a rural area, meaning you can have like your chickens, your goats, you can have like your garden farm for yourself. It's not for commercial purpose. I think there's a different permit or something else that you have to do, but you can sort of like live that type of rural life, but in a rural residential area. So these are the kind of lands that you want to buy. I'm sure if you do more research, you see lands in different areas too. Around the Ottawa. So it's called the Ottawa Valley area. If you do your research, you can find land that's not too pricey, but it's still close enough to the city. So this one is in Carleton Place. Well, it's close to Carleton Place. It's not too far. In 10 years' time, that place is going to open up for sure. So using this as an example, if you're to buy this land, and you can also price it, they're telling you it's 169, so 170K. You can tell them that, hey, I'll pay you 140K for this. Let's do business. Right? You negotiate. That's how it is. So most issues that people have with buying land is the fact that it's not easily, you cannot easily finance it. The banks, they're not willing to finance it, especially if you're not going to build on it immediately. If you tell them that, hey, I want to hold this for the next 10 years, they find it hard to finance because, first of all, it's very hard to sell land. And because of that, they feel like if you default on your loan, like you're not able to pay back, it's going to be hard for them to find somebody else to take it over, which is why it's harder. But it's definitely doable. There are specific loan providers that deal with lands, and most of the time they'll ask you for 35% to 50% of the down payment. So let's assume they're asking for 35% on 170K. So let's use the actual price that they posted, 170K. So 35% is almost 60,000, 60K. That's your down payment if you were to go with this. This is, for some people, this is like a 5% if you're going to buy a house, right? So I'll do two comparisons now. Stay with me. So if you're like, I want to buy this land for my children so that in 20 years, in 25 years, when they're adults, they can look at it and be like, oh, I don't care about this land, I want to sell it, or they can build on it. Either way, they're going to make profits from it because the price would have gone up, the areas would have opened up. So even if they were to build, the area would have opened up so much that even if they have a regular job, they can still, it will not be too far for them. It's not like, oh, they are going to have to drive 30 minutes into Ottawa. So you can do that. Versus buying a house, let's say, or buying a townhouse. So let's say there's a townhouse that's like 450K or 500K, 600K. Let me use the actual price of a townhouse now. So townhouses are around 600K, and you do a 5% down on that. So almost the same amount of down payments. if you're like, why should I buy land? Let me just buy a house. If it's for the purpose of my children, I'll buy a house. It's close to University of Ottawa. My children can, if they decide to go to University of Ottawa, they can stay here, rent it to their roommates or whatever. Before you give it to your children, or before your children will make use of it, you have to maintain the house. Maintaining a house today is not easy compared to maintaining land. Maintaining a house means you have to rent it out to tenants. And if you're very familiar with how tenancy laws in Ontario are, tenancy laws in Ontario are brutal. If your tenant today decides to stop paying you rent, first of all, you have to figure out how to keep maintaining the house, paying the mortgage. If you have a mortgage on the house, you have to keep paying the mortgage yourself while you try to kick them out. You can't just go to the house and say, oh, you stopped paying me rent last month, I'm going to kick you out. No. There's due process you have to follow. You have to take them to court, and the court has to actually give you a ruling to kick them out before you can kick them out. Sometimes it takes 12 months. Sometimes for some people, it's taken a year plus to kick out tenants who've defaulted on rent. So, but that's not what happens for every landlord, right? It's small amounts, but those small amounts, if you compare the number in Ontario, it's a lot. I know friends who've been victims of bad tenants. So imagine if you have to do all of this. You're paying the property tax on that house. You're maintaining the house. You have tenants. You're paying the mortgage sometimes if there's issues with rent from your tenants. Imagine if you have bad tenants and then you have to pay yourself. Imagine all of that cost of maintaining just because you're trying to give your children a house that you've bought, versus buying a land. Even if the down payments might be pricey compared to the price, you buy the land, there's no maintenance. You're not maintaining the land or anything. You are you're only paying property tax. A property tax on land for that kind of price most likely be $700 a year. That's all you're paying. So do the comparison. Again, I'm saying it many times. This is not financial advice or investment advice. I'm just trying to get you guys to think outside of the normal thing that you've known or they've told you. So do the comparison. And this is even the example I'm giving is even a 2-acre land. If you're you know what, I want to go into this. I want to buy a 50-acre land in the Ottawa Valley area, and maybe it's $400K, because you actually see those types of prices. You're buying a 50-acre land that your children can use, that you can even use in future. You can, in 10 years' time, when you're settled, when you've established yourself more in the country, you can actually build on it. So you're investing for the future. You're getting a property, you're getting land that your children's children, everyone can use. They can use it and build a community. Your own siblings, if they are here, you guys can move in all together, create your own community. That's what you're going to be doing, right? So it's definitely something to think about. So I was telling you that it's not every land you see, because there's some land prices where you'll be like, oh, this is cheap, I'll go and buy it. You have to be careful. So this example I'm showing now is an example of land that you are not able to build on. So you see the price is very cheap. So if you see any land where they're like, 100 acres for $50K, just read the description. Even if they don't have a description, ask the person that's selling. You see that kind of land. For this particular example, it's landlocked, so you can only access it by water. And you can only use it for hunting, for recreational purposes. You can build a small structure, so like a cabin or a cottage or just a small campground. You can use it for that purpose, but you can't live on it every day. So it's something you and your friends can actually buy. So if you live in town, so let's say you live in Ottawa, and you and your friends, you're like, we need somewhere we can go to once a month, every long weekend in the month, to have fun, to hunt, to just chill, to just stay in the cottage and then just be in nature. You can do that because the price is not even too much. You for this type of land, if you buy it with friends, let's say you buy it with 5 friends, how much are you going to bring? Everyone will bring what, 9,000 or 8,000. Do the math, right? But most people would most likely bring under $10,000. And doing this would that means you've paid for the land outright. There's no property tax, as you can see, because of the type of land it is. So if you see this type of land, just know that like it's not usable. It's just for recreational purposes. And they would usually tell you. So you have to be careful when you're looking into lands. There are some lands that the description would say it's a wetland, so it cannot be used for day-to-day living. Or they will tell you that there are certain restrictions or limitations, or like, oh, it's on the crown property, or whatever it is, right? So you have to make sure you're looking very well. So that's this type of land. They have other types of lands where it's also cheap, but it's in an area that's not expanded yet. So this particular example in the Quebec area, after Gatineau, as you can see, there's no land, there's no road access yet. Like there might be like a small road access, but they've not really created it. It's still like in progress. It's something that in the future they're going to develop it and like put the proper roads and everything. But right now, they don't have that yet. So you can buy this type of land with a future goal in mind. You know that it's cheap, but you are not able to use it at the moment. You can use it in the next 5 to 10 to 15 years. This one will be very good for, hey, I want to gift my child something when they are 18 years old, something like that. You know how today people with kids, you have the RESP, so the registered educational savings plans for your children, so that when it's time for them to go to university, they have fees they have the money for whatever they want, wherever they want to study. Same thing you can do for purchasing the land, right? You can say, hey, I'm purchasing this very cheap land. It's not developed yet, but there's plans that it's going to develop. I would buy this and gift it to you. Again, because as with investments, if you're familiar with investments, there's the risk, right? There's also the risk that, who knows, in the future, maybe there's no plan to develop it. Or in the future, that place could open up and you'll be lucky, you'll be rich, because the prices of things in that area will be out of the roof. That's just how it is with investments. Look at all these things I've said, right? The point of this video is it's just a rant and just like advice, even myself, because this is something that, as I'm talking to more people, is beginning to resonate more with me. So this is something that we're actively looking to do for our kids, future kids, grandkids, and all of that. And because I already told you guys, I have that community building in my mind. It's something I'm also going to look into. Land purchase in Canada is not easy, but it is doable. You know, sometimes when you see certain regulations in place, you have to question it. You have to reach out to the authorities and be like, why do we have this in place? Like, what's the purpose? That's how you how do I put it now? You break certain barriers. That's how you conquer certain things. You ask questions. You ask, why not? And then you might realize that like there's really no reason. Maybe there's been no interest, so they just like blocked it off. Let's think about these things. Let's look into other alternative types of investments for ourselves, for our children, for our future grandchildren. Let's think about creating legacies. It's not really like, for me, I've not really been the kind of person to be like, oh, legacy, like I'll give this person, like take 100 million, take 500 million. No, it's just that when you think about certain things, you're like, if my parents were in Canada, I wish they would have done this for me. Or if I knew if my parents were in Canada, I would have had it easier. So let's try to make things easier for our children. We have the opportunity that they don't have yet. They're still small, right? They still have a lot of growing up to do. How do we make sure that like in 25 years time, in 30 years time, they are part of those people who would say, yes, I'm a landowner. They are part of the community. They are able to make decisions. They're able to contribute meaningfully. Because you don't know how the future is going to be like. People will keep complaining about the economy. The economy is always going to be the economy. Ever since I was born, my parents will always talk about the economy, how the economy is this. I would always hear people talk about economy this, economy that. The economy is going to remain the economy. And it's always funny how the best economies is always in the past. So as of today now, people will tell you like, oh my gosh, the Canadian economy is bad, or the US economy is bad. Then next year, they'll say, oh my gosh, this economy is worse. And they'll be like, 2025, we had it good. But at the time, you didn't appreciate 2020, 2025, 2024. So we're always going to have economical issues. When our children gets to the age where they are adults, they will be facing something else at that time. So why not make it easier for them? by doing this. And somebody else will say, it's getting late, I have to go inside. Somebody else will say, oh, where's the money going to come from? Where am I going to get $60,000? Where am I going to get $100,000? My job right now doesn't even allow me. If you can watch my previous videos, it's not today I started doing YouTube. I've been trying to blow as a YouTuber for a long time. But I had a post about career, progressing in career, and all of that good stuff. You don't have to do it now. Like, you're watching this video, this is not something you have to do now. It's something you can plan for the next 5 years. In 2030, how are you going to make sure that, like, you're not in the same position that you're in today? You have to make those choices now. You have to make those very important choices now. How do I put it now? Oh, my job, I'm not getting paid very well. It's just me, right? Because sometimes it's easier. Myself and my husband, it's been easier because we both have good high-paying jobs, so it made it easier for us to save. But you're like, oh, it's just me, I'm single, so who will save with me? I understand that. You can find like a cheaper land to buy, you can find something else, or you can just like take your time and just keep saving and saving and saving. But if you don't have enough, like a good high-paying job, it's going to be hard to save. You cannot save your way into wealth. I'm sorry. So right now, you don't have the means, but you can plan. You can say, okay, my next 5 to 10 years, I need to plan it. By 2030, by 2035, I need to be able to say, yes, I was able to do this. And one thing I've noticed about life is if you have plans, right? If you have a plan to say, I want to save $60,000 in the next 5 years, just using as an example, you actually do it. It will make you not spend money recklessly. When you don't have any plans for your money, I've been there. You just be buying things anyhow. Just be, oh, I have money to this, I can go this place. Oh, you spend money recklessly. But when you have a plan and a goal in mind, it keeps you grounded to save for that purpose. So you can do that too. You can give yourself that timeline. You can say, okay, right now, I'm not making the amount of money that can make me get this lifestyle or that can make me purchase this type of land, but I can work towards it. Look at the job you're doing. How can you progress in that job? How can you get promoted quickly? How do you get to the top of your career? You have to put those things in place. So this video is not for career advice, but maybe I'll go back to my career series or my money making series. But for this video, it's just to say that it is possible. We're living in Canada. We're Canadians, even if you're still a permanent resident, even if you're still a student, an international student. If you have that mindset that this is your land, then you want to grow and you want to thrive in it. You want to feel like you're part of this land, right? You want to be among people making the right decisions. You're buying land, you're keeping things for your children, you're able to like go to your town hall and vote and have a say because you belong there. So let's start having that mindset of being part of the community. Just think about it. Think about like, okay, how do I establish myself better in this land? How do I establish my children? Maybe for me it's too late. Maybe it's too late for me to do this, but how do I put my children in a better spot? Or if you don't have kids, think about me. How can you put me in a better spot? You can add me to your will. You can add me to your will. So think about me. How can you put me in a better spot so that I'll enjoy myself in the next 10 years? But I'll end this video here. I know it's long, just been talking and talking, but it's a very important message for us to talk about and discuss as a community of immigrants, or even if you're not an immigrant, just as a regular person. How do you better yourself? How can you make life better for your children? How can you make life better for those that are coming in front of you? So let me know what do you think about all of this. Let's chat in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye.